Hello and welcome to my latest instalment that we're calling, on my website we're calling it Now and Zen. So I'm doing little short clips of yoga poses or breathing exercises that can really help us, particularly at the moment, but this is going to be hopefully useful for the rest of your life. These are kind of health tips as well. So we're currently approaching a full moon. On Friday there will be a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius because the sun is in Gemini. That's by the by. When we are going towards a full moon, we can tend to feel quite fatigued. We don't sleep very well, for one thing. There's more light around at night. We might need to go to the loo more. Moon affects the tides, so therefore our bodies are made up of, 80% water, so moon can affect the water in our bodies as well. So it's they do say you shouldn't have surgery on a full moon because you bleed more. There's all kinds of things and ways that the moon can affect us. So anyone that's ever been to my yoga classes regularly will know that I always like to practice what is called the half moon pose in the build up to the full moon, because the build up to a full moon is like a pressure cooker. It's like a build up of emotional stuff, and then once that moon has passed and it's gone past the point of being full, we kind of breathe a sigh of relief. So the half moon pose, when practiced up against a wall, can really help to combat fatigue, so that really drained feeling that you might feel, because we can feel this particularly in the build up to a full moon. Now during these times that we're in at the moment, the lockdown times, I have noticed there's a lot more people feeling more fatigued, more drained, more depressed. Okay, so there are lots of things to help us with this, with anxiety levels as well, on my Now and Zen section of my website, which is it's at zenyoga.julielovelock.co.uk. So we're going to do now the half moon pose up against the wall. So to start off with, you stand with one foot pointing out into the room, and so then the other foot comes up to the wall. So it's at a kind of a 90-degree angle to the foot that you're standing on. So that foot points out that way. This foot is pointing that way, as you can see. So I'm going to show you the full version first of all. Now what we're aiming for is to have the spine as straight as possible so that we're in alignment. So my hand is coming down to the floor and the other hand reaches up. And I'm going to draw my head back here, you can see. And I'm going to look up to this hand. So if I bring the camera up here, you can see what I'm doing. So I'm being as straight as possible in this pose. All right, so we hold here for 5 breaths, looking up to the hand. So this is if you're able to do the full pose, if you're able to look up to the hand. If you do have high blood pressure, it's advised to look down. So we hold here for 5 breaths. It's a really good hip opener as well. And there'll be one side that will feel trickier than the other. Now this is a balance, so it can feel a little bit wobbly. You might be able to hold more on one side than you can on the other. You might be able to open up more on one side than you can on the other. When you've done your 5 breaths on one side, you come back to your center. Just take a breath in and a breath away. Good. So I'm going to show you a more adapted pose for the other side. Okay, so I put this foot up against the wall first of all. Now I'm going to put this other side up against the table. So again, the foot that I'm standing on points down into the room. Let's put the camera back here. Sorry, you're feeling a bit woozy with all this camera movement. Okay, so this foot is pointing out into the room. Now I'm going to bring my other foot up to the table. Okay, and it's not so high. It's still parallel. So when my foot was up against the wall, it was parallel to the kind of sill there, the mantelpiece, and to the floor. So it's still parallel, parallel on that edge of the table. It's not so high. It may be you want to put it on a sofa or a chair. And then this hand, let's say I can't bring it all the way to the floor without bending forwards. This is what we want to avoid, is bending forwards. So I can bring it to my leg. I can lose balance as well as I do this. So foot pointing out into the room, holding on to my leg, not coming down too low, still making sure I've got that straight spine. This hand points up to the ceiling and I'm going to look down because I feel too woozy looking up this side. So again, hold here for 5 breaths. This might be my easier side, it might be my trickier side. But it's the more adapted side, okay? Come back to my centre again. Take a breath in and a breath away. Now if you want to bring more balance into the hips in this way, what you can do is do the side that is trickier twice. All right, so you might need to do both sides in that more adapted way, or you might be able to do both sides fully. Even if you just have your foot on a, like I say, on a sofa, it's not too high up. This foot still points out this way. We're getting that nice sideways movement. Just doing what you can, but holding in that pose can really help to beat fatigue. So, thank you. Namaste Home.